Hi, y'all. We're back for our second to last week of Milking Stool Ministries, and we are in John chapter 18 and 19. This week, I'm going to just jump right into sort of my notes for you, my heart for you guys, because it's intense right now. It's the climax of sort of the book of John, and if it was a movie and somebody paused it right now for a potty break, you would flip your lid. So I'm going to go ahead and just jump into John chapter 18, verse 4, verse 4. All I wrote my notes on was verse 4. And yes. So verse 4 reads, Jesus, knowing all that was going to happen to him, went out and asked them, who is it you want? And I just focusing on that verse, knowing all that was going to happen to him. I cannot tell you how many times I've played over my head if I knew what was going to happen, even just in my life. How, would I have done things differently? How would I have approached how would I have approached situations? How would I have felt about specific things? I think in high school, all the boys that I dated and the fretting I did and the tears that I cried, if I had known Jason was coming, and in very specific ways, I knew I was going to get married one day, but if I knew in very specific ways when Jason was going to show up, if I knew when I met him that he was the one, how would I have done things different? Would I have done things different? Knowing that my dad was going to get sick when I turned 20, holy smokes, when I turned 20, and knowing that at 25 I would, be okay with him dying, that I would be mourning him, very deeply mourning over him, but knowing that he's going to go to heaven and that he's going to be healed. But how would I have approached that relationship? How would I have done things differently in high school when he didn't know anything and he made these stupid rules that ruined everything? Would I have approached that differently? Just even to the idea of friendships and situations that, were broken and have been restored. Would I have allowed the brokenness to sit as long as I did? Or would I have been more proactive? Just those ideas. It's crazy. Would I have been obedient to the timeline, to the call of things, or would I have just been tempting fate constantly? I think of The Butterfly Effect, that movie where Ashton Kutcher could go back and could change things, and then it ruined things in the future. And I guess if I could see the future, would I ruin it? In that I would attempt to control it or change it or rush it. And that's a crazy thought because Jesus knew the timeline and was obedient to the timeline. And that, I think it's not human nature, right? Like we are, 6 months old and we begin to want to move on our own and we want to crawl and then we want to walk. And when walking's not easy, we get frustrated and then we turn 4 and why, mom? Why, mom? Why? And that is its own intense, stage of wanting to know more and be more. And then, then you want to drive and you just are itching for that driving experience. And then you want to be an adult and you test boundaries with your parents, during your junior and senior year of college of high school, because you're so close to tasting the freedom that college gives or promises. And I just wonder what that must have been like for him, because I know that I haven't the slightest clue about God's timing. And just when I think I have it figured out, I realize that I don't. And so knowing and being obedient, the immense self-control, the immense love he must have had. Like, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing because I know that as much as I love my parents, I was not always obedient from a young age. I was not always obedient. So I just, and then the idea of what I do know, I put my name in that blank. Amber, knowing all that was going to happen to her, went out. And the idea of, I don't know the time, but I do know some very concrete things. I know that I'm a precious and beloved child of an almighty and glorious God. I know that suffering is going to happen. I know that trials and tribulations are going to come into my life. I also know that I'm not alone in those. I know that despite what anyone could take away from me, my family, my husband, my dog, my new tortoise, my home, despite what anyone could take away from me, that they cannot take my God away from me. And the idea of that just is powerful. And knowing that I can be, I actually wrote like a little list in here. I said I can be emboldened, I can be brave, I can be free, I can be joyful and gracious, I can be talented and be strong and be honest. The gates are opened for me to go out and to do things and to do them in order to glorify Him. Like Jesus prayed last week, God, give me the ability to be glorified for you. Give me the ability to accept the glory that I can point in your direction. And I just, like, wow, that is just humbling and overwhelming and exciting. And obviously, I'm stoked on it, and it makes me want to go do, like, something. I'm not really sure what. Maybe write a book, I don't know, or at least a blog post. So just the idea that I don't know the details, but I know the end. I know the moral of the story. Thus, I can craft my story to enhance it, to bold it and underline it and make bubble block letters and write it on my hand like I did when I was in middle school. Just those things. Like, that is amazing. Obviously, then we get into John chapter 19. And it's very heavy. Jesus dies. Everyone's mourning him. I understand mourning now, as I'm losing my dad, more than I ever have in my life. And I just can't even imagine not having the hope that I have because of Jesus being crucified and resurrecting. Ending at chapter 19 was very hard because right now we are just there, left in that sadness and in that mourning. And I hope that you sort of took that in a little bit this week, because in this next week as we're reading, I just want you to focus on that complete joy, that complete and overwhelming joy that Jesus talks about, because we are about to see it in all of these people who were just watching him be crucified. And I think that the things that are going on in the world right now are very heavy, and I think that we probably mourn them in the same way that that the people at Jesus' time, his disciples, his followers, mourned him. And so I just want you all to realize as well, in this same way, there's hope. There is hope here. And so whatever that hope might look like, I'm not sure yet because I don't have all the answers, believe it or not. But just leaning into that fact, and I just want you to focus on hope this week and complete joy, that complete joy. And I'm curious what that will do for contentment. So next week we will meet for 20 and 21. And I'm going to post my notes and the link up below. Again, this week I was slacking last week. I apologize. Obviously, I'm amped. I'm going over my normal time. I love this, you guys. I love this. And I just love our God, and I love our community. And I just hope that you can go out and just be exhilarated by him this Friday, this weekend, whenever you're actually watching this. Everything's flow for you, and I will see you next week.